My relationship with the land is intimate. I have roots in the landscape. It gives me nourishment for my soul.
This is one of the last truly wild areas, well, in Europe certainly.
This is derelict land, altered beyond all recognition. We have a man-made wilderness out there.
This is a managed landscape, and we have to continue to manage it properly.
I would fight tooth and nail to keep this place.
The Scottish Highlands rise like a great barrier, mile upon mile of mountain and moorland, of heather, peat bog and scree. In the northwest corner of this area, in Sutherlandshire, the scenery changes. Bare, desolate hills tower above an almost treeless landscape, scored and pitied by 1,000 lochs and tarns. It is called Gàidhlig, the rough or barren place.
Aye, rough it is indeed, but not everywhere so barren. We live here. These are our homes and our crops, down by the sea there and around the waters of the loch. Our forefathers trenched and drained and made the land, and anywhere there's a bit of ground that a man can work.
My relationship with the land is intimate. I just feel I have real roots in the landscape. It gives me nourishment for my soul. The geology, the flora and fauna, the myths and legends and all the things that weave together to make this place so special. I use the landscape and I benefit from it. You look at it and you think it's very solid and it's been there for 3 billion years and it's all, but no, it changes, and the biggest change has been the hand of man. Your choices are now is where do you steer it? No matter what decision you make, it will be the wrong decision for someone. People want a binary argument. They want a black and white. They want a yes or no. They want you to take a side.
This isn't natural. This isn't a natural landscape. This is a managed landscape. And we have to continue to manage it properly. Our environment has to be there for the future, and it's our responsibility now to look after it, not the next generations. It's all about reaching an equilibrium.
Loch Scotica is quite a special place. It's one of the biggest sea lochs. It was formed however many tens of thousands of years ago by glaciers, and this is my home. This is where I work. not just as a scallop diver, but also as a seaweed harvester. My future is depending on it, and it being a healthy place that can continue to function in a sustainable way. Life is generally untouched here. The scallops are protected by something called the several order, which severs the public's right to fish. Me and my father have spent so many years here. We've made it our business to make sure it's protected. The best way to describe it is a sea croft, and obviously I want my croft to be looked after as much as possible. This sea loch supports 2 sustainable businesses, and I think that's incredible. And it's father and son as well, 2 generations, 2 separate businesses, 1 sea loch. And it shows you if you look after your environment, it will look after you. I was born and raised in Skye. I'm a Scotsman, and Skye is my home. The land and the environment of Skye is very ingrained in me. Not just because of my father and the fishing and, you know, seeing all the wonderful things he'd bring home as a boy and being able to go out with him now and again. But my mother shows me pictures of my great-grandfather shearing sheep in the north of Skye. It's really special to think that I'm still here generations later. I'm still working with my land and still looking after it. When I'm fishing, if I'm going to make money, I have to go outside. And working on a boat, just being on a boat is tiring sometimes, just because it's so physically demanding, being out there in the cold and trying to stay warm, trying to stay upright and trying to stay in the boat. You do end up very, very short days, but with a lot of cloud cover. So you can go weeks without seeing the sun properly. You might get daylight, but you won't get sunshine. That really gets to me sometimes.
I've been waiting to join an extension onto an old building. I need to open up the roof on that. I've been waiting 6 weeks for the 2 dry days that I need to open the roof.
There was a land character assessment done for this area years ago, and in the introduction it says that the people here that live here are determined and gritty.
It's a waste, it's wet. Put a pair of waterproofs on, get on with it.
It pays to be a bit practical.
It's not an easy life, it's a hard life. While it's quite forgiving in lots of ways, it will bloody beat you down if you get it wrong. And it will hammer you. And if you're not prepared for that, you can get yourself in a world of pain.
I don't think people recognise what it's like to have to live 70 miles away from the nearest town. I don't think people recognise the difficulties that there are in living in some of these fringe communities, and I don't think they care, to be honest.
30 years ago, in this Skye locale, there was probably 25, 30 different people trying to grow scallops, ranch scallops, and I'm the only survivor. And as working class people, we get one shot. We get the money that we get one time. We don't have rich mummies and daddies to go to and say, oh, that's failed, let me try again. So my business will probably die with me.
When a scallop diver goes down, he's working just by his field of vision. You sort of learn to read the seabed and follow the scallops. I can be diving along an edge and suddenly I will just come to a line in the seabed. And that's where I know a scallop dredger has managed to get up to. Scallop dredging at its basic form is running steel rods along the seabed and bouncing scallops using these prongs off the seabed into bags. I've never seen a seabed recover from a scallop dredger.
Carry on the way we're going. there's going to be nothing left.
Some people don't care. The people
That's the
that
problem.
use it and abuse it, they don't care. And they don't worry about the next generation. They don't worry about leaving it as they found it. And that is a belief system.
I understand the need for jobs and people to work, but we can find other ways. There's some amazingly smart people here doing some amazing things, but you just won't look closely enough. We've got engineers and we've got philosophers and we've got musicians. I think people, they'll just see the mountains and stuff. But we do so much here and you don't see it. Us as a community now have to make sure we stay united and keep a strong voice of get the fuck out. Or, well, it's part of my language, but please leave us alone.
We're kind of forgotten about up here. It's very challenging to make ends meet, especially on some of these remote places. A lot of the time you're by yourself working. It can be challenging. There's no doubt it can be very challenging at times. But it's just the nature of the job. You don't come into this line of work to make a lot of money, you do it because it's something that's in you. I'm not trained for anything else.
This one here, watch this, see this here. Here, girlie. You can trust her. If you're a deer stalker on a piece of ground, the owner lives away. There's no owner can make his living up here. The kind of money it takes to keep a place like this. This place doesn't make a profit. After the two wars, a lot of these big places have been broken up.
We haven't been here at Attadale for years and years. My grandfather bought it in 1952. After the war, people didn't think there was much future for these sort of places. It still costs some six-figure sum to keep the show on the road. It doesn't make money.
For far too long, shooting estates have run the Highlands. We've got landowners who own massive, massive areas. Not all of them are bad, I'm not saying that, but I believe that the people of Scotland should own the land of Scotland.
It's generally considered that too few people own too much land in Scotland. I suppose the question is if this land was taken away and owned by the community, who would want to spend all that money keeping it up? When discussing these subjects, it sounds very corny to say things like, you're not really owning it, you're looking after it while you're here for the future, which is such a sort of corny thing to say. It sort of makes me cringe. Estates still employ a significant number of people. Some have serious farms. We only have about 200 acres in the bottom of this glen, so it's actually let somebody else run sheep.
Attadale is a good little place, quite a lot of in-by ground here that we winter around about 200 sheep here through the winter months. I'm a little bit out here by myself, and it's mainly, we're limited to what we can do here, so it's mainly sheep. See ya.
It's quite funny. I never really volunteered to shear everybody's sheep in this area. It just kind of happened. There's not really anybody around, certainly Strathcarron, who are under 60 that are crofting. In all honesty, there's not. So they're not capable of shearing their own sheep or gathering a hill or anything else like that. They're just getting too old. There's nobody coming behind them.
When I was young, most of the crofts in Lochcarron would have been worked actively. Every hill was covered in sheep. Really move. My grandmother had 7 brothers and 6 of them were shepherds.
Part of the way this country is kept the way it is people running sheep on it. They don't do it nearly as much as they used to. So that's an interesting, well, you know, how long a croft is going to go on doing it if they don't get subsidies, because it's not worth doing.
People enjoy looking after animals. It's rewarding. But I don't think crofting is viable.
It's just not viable. It really isn't viable, and who wants all the hard work that goes with it?
There's not the people about to do the job now. A lot of it's been lost, unfortunately. There's not really, I don't think there would be any college in the world that would teach you how to gather a mountain.
The sheep have been sold off, they're gone, and along with the sheep going were the men that used to look after them.
There's not the numbers of us that there were. We're a dying breed, I guess.
It's different here to what it was when I was growing up. Crofting was very much a communal thing where everybody would help out one another. It's changed and not for the better, I don't think.
It welded people together. I think it's a poorer place than it was. It's gone, and it's gone. But I guess it's just how countries evolve. There's nothing you can do about it.
If that's the way the thing's going to go, it's not going to be worth bothering with. It's costing me more to keep my own sheep than what I'm making them. I don't know, but when the sheep go off these hills, that's it.
Here we had 3 little clachans, wee villages. There was Gorston, Camasdown, and then there was here. And these people were put out so that a single man who lived on the other side of the hill at Wierig, he could have sheep. They had no recourse to justice, there was no justice. They were shoved out without ceremony and forgotten about in effect. Some of us have a sense of loss because of what happened in the clearances and the way people were treated. It makes it more precious what we have left, what little we have left. We appreciate, I think, the people that we've lost the history that we've lost. I guess it's the way of the world.
This land was fundamentally altered for this purpose of livestock. It was necessary at the time, but things change. You can't stop change. The sheep disappearing from the land is simply part of that change.
What you look at when you look out the windows, you drive through the Highlands, is derelict land, altered beyond all recognition to the state that now we have a man-made wilderness out there.
There are so few areas left that are not marked. If we have the opportunity to heal some of that damage, then we should take it.
Ascent is utterly unique in my mind because it just stands out from the rest of Scotland, where the rest of Scotland is so often kind of overpopulated, busy, kind of frantic, and often the mountains, even if you go to them, are bigger, more sinister, more committing than here in Coigach and Ascent. You know, the mountains here, kind of what they lack in size, they definitely make up for in character.
The landscape here is unique within Scotland. You don't have any mountain ranges, you have very individual mountains made from Torridonian sandstone. There's a wonderful German term for these, which is Eiselberg, which means island mountains. It's really mainly a woodland croft in that most of it is woodland. I really want to maintain this croft, maintain the woodland. The Great Caledonian Forest used to stretch from Orkney to Bavaria, and it's pretty much all gone now. There's very little woodland in Ascent, so I think preserving it is quite an important job for me to do, and hopefully to pass it on to Corwin to look after as well. Wilderness is in the eye of the beholder. Wilderness means different things to different people. The importance of having these areas where you can go and feel free from the influences of man, I think is a very healthy thing to do. In Scotland, you have the right to roam. So you have the fundamental right to explore, walk across, and responsibly enjoy our wildernesses. And I would fight tooth and nail to keep that. People are really starting to realise now the importance of the resource we have in just the scenery, how valuable the scenery is.
The only way the Highlands survives is if we continue to encourage people to come here, see how wonderful and special it is, and then take that home with them.
Within the EU, there was a lot of concern for the loss of way of life of some of these smaller communities. So a lot of money was actually put into grant schemes, for example, that could only be accessed by some of these smaller communities, fragile communities on the edge, effectively.
The Highlands had the same classifications as Eastern Europe. It was seen as that deprived.
Now that the fishing is finished, the commercial fishing is on its knees at the moment. If it wasn't for tourism, I think this area would be a very different place, and not in a good way.
But the jobs that it creates, you know, it's minimum wage stuff. I've got 3 children. There's none of them living in the Highlands, and none of them will. They like home, but there's nothing for them.
My youngest daughter is about to go to university. She won't be back. It's a rare young person who'll stay, who'll go to school here and make a life here.
It can make an easier living doing something else in a city than trying to make a living on the land.
Many of the kids that grow up here then will go away and kind of discover the wider world and not want to return for one reason or another, or they really want to come back, but often can't because of employment or housing.
It's really quite tough, and when you see some of these holiday houses, they're abandoned throughout the winter, and then there are local people who are desperate for accommodation, they can't get anything. That kind of upsets me a little bit.
Static caravans, shipping container homes, these are all things that we generally consider all the time. Like we're sitting in the pub and having a chat about our futures. It's like, what temporary housing do you want to stay in the next 10 years?
The studies have been done and it's an irrefutable fact that yes, this is happening. The Highlands are losing young people. I wish there was more studies done on returnees like me. If the herring come back, they can come in to spawn in places like this, and then we can fish for them.
How far out?
Right here. Right here. We made the decision to home educate Corwin. He already has a great appreciation for nature. He has a great appreciation for wilderness. He has a happy childhood. My brother-in-law died very suddenly and unexpectedly when he was just over 40, and he left a 4-year-old son, which he was so proud of. And I thought, holy crap, he just had 4 years with him, and it was the meaning of his life. And so if I can spend any more time with my boy, any extra time I get with him, you know, that I would lose. And I'm thinking of the hours and hours and hours that you lose with your children in school. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's that we're doing things better, but we are lucky enough to be in the position to be able to do that.
My son's going to grow up here in this environment. This is going to be his back garden, and we're going to go out on all these amazing adventures, you know, dad and son. And I'm really excited about that. In a way that I think if we lived in a city, fun would be prescribed. I think it's maybe my style of parenting, but just let them get on with it. You can't really wrap them in cotton wool up here. They'll blow over.
I want to foster in Corwin as strong a sense of belonging here as I have. But then I want also him to leave. I want him to explore the world. And if I've done my job right, when it comes time for him to raise his children, there will not be a second's hesitation in his mind as to where he wants to bring his children up.
I live in a place that people pay to stay in. I see every day the views people pay to see. I drive the roads that people save up the whole year to be able to drive. I still stop every now and then and just stop and look at where I am. It's only isolated if you want to be somewhere else.
People looking on think that we're remote up here. I don't consider it remote because it's home.
Not being sound all romantic or anything, but it is a way of life, there's no doubt about it. I'm never going to be rich, let's put it like that, but I'll always be quite happy, I think.
I would not want people to perceive us as backward, ignorant, narrow-minded, inferior. You know, we're all equals.
I would like them to see people who are passionate about where they live, hard workers, very proud people.
I genuinely have a passion of this place. I am proud of where I live, and I love sharing it. It's like a family member, and I'm showing off what my son can do, and I'm showing off Sylvan. Look at that, that's in my home, that is.
Yes, you can get weeks and days of intense bad wind and rain, but that one, sometimes just a few hours when the sun comes out and you see these mountains and the lochs, and it just makes your heart sing.
Yeah, and there's people that's here, as soon as the sunshine comes out, that's barbecues, t-shirts off, shorts on, and it's only like 10 degrees.
Trying to get as red as possible,
and we
as
love
fast
it,
as
and
possible.
we love it.
Maybe it does almost attract a certain type of
Weirdo.
character.
And it is right that their future should be secure. For these people, hard-working, kindly, cooperative, give us sturdy citizens that we could ill afford to be without.
I find it sad because I remember what it was like, and I miss that. It's just part of a country growing.
Change happens whether you like it or not. But it's important to preserve these places.
It is a challenge, I think, for the future.
We can have a genuine positive effect here if we look after it. It's up to us to speak up and defend ourselves and defend our community, because if we don't do it, nobody will.
I think it's quite normal to want to cling on to the good bits of the past. But change will happen. If it doesn't, you'll die out. We'll never be modern. We'll never be modern.